Hi dear students, I am Dr. Mashur. Welcome to my class. Today I would like to discuss preparation of research proposals. First, we can see what is a research proposal. A research proposal is a formal document which explains what you plan to research and why it's worth researching and how you plan to do it. Okay? A research proposal is a formal document and which explains what you plan to research and why it's worth researching and how you plan to do it. Okay, when you are going to do a research project, that time you have to submit a research proposal. Okay, and what is a research proposal means? A research proposal is a formal document which explains what you plan to research and why it's worth doing and how you plan to do it. Okay, this is the research proposal. Okay, research proposal is a formal document. Okay, and a research proposal will help researcher to convince others that you have a useful and manageable research project. Okay, a research proposal will help researcher to convince others. Okay, others means maybe supervisors or funding agencies, etc. Okay, research proposal will help researchers to convince others that researcher or you are having a useful and manageable research project. Okay, a research proposal will help researcher to convince others that you have a useful and manageable research project. Okay, and a research project, a research proposal must address the following questions. Okay, if you submit a research proposal, that must address the following questions. That are what you plan to accomplish. Okay, you have to answer this question. First one is what you plan to accomplish by doing this research and why you want to do this research and how you are going to do this research. Okay, these are the questions that should be addressed by the researcher in the research proposal. First one is what you plan to accomplish by doing this project, this research, and why you want to do this research and how you are going to do this research. These are the questions that should be addressed by the researcher in research proposal. Okay, a research proposal is a formal document which explains what you plan to research and why it's worth doing this research and how you plan to do this research. And this proposal will help researcher to convince others that you have a useful and manageable research project. Okay, and a research proposal must address the following question. First one is what you have planned to accomplish and why you want to do it. And a research proposal must address the following questions. What is what you plan to accomplish and why you want to do this research and how you are going to do it. Okay, what you plan to accomplish, why you want to do it, and how you are going to do it. These are the questions that should be addressed in research proposal. And now we can see what is the need of a research proposal. Okay, we can see what is the need of a research proposal. Okay, a research proposal or project proposal is a vital in competitive environment. Okay, a project proposal or research proposal is vital in competitive environment because if you are applying for a research program, that time they will ask a research proposal from you. Okay, and if you are applying for funding to do a research, that time they will ask research proposal to do that for considering that research project. Okay, that's why it's called term is a project proposal is vital in a competitive environment. Okay, if you are trying for admission in any research program, that time so many applicants will be there. From that they have to select a good applicant or candidate for the research. That time they will consider your research proposal. If a research proposal will get is good, then you will get advantage for the selection process of research program. And sometime if you want to get fund for doing your research program, that time you can apply for that funding to a different agencies. That time also you have to submit a research proposal. That time your research proposal is good, that time you will get consideration, you will get attendance for getting the funds. And what is this research proposal in assist the researcher in the project formulation, project planning, project performance, and monitoring of the research. Okay, this project research proposal assists the researcher in project formulation, planning, performance, and monitoring of the research. Okay, and the quality of research proposal contribute to the successful completion of the project. Okay, this quality of your research proposal that will contribute to the successful completion of the project. Okay, for the completion of or successful completion of a project, you must have a good research proposal. And if you are submitting a poorly prepared research proposal to any funding agency or any supervisor, that never considered project proposal. Okay, a poorly prepared project proposal may not be considered at all. Okay, a poorly prepared proposal may not be considered at all. That's why you have to prepare a good proposal. This is the need of a research proposal. That means a project proposal. A project proposal or research proposal is vital in competitive environment. Okay, a project proposal or research proposal is vital in competitive environment, and this research proposal will assist the researcher in project formulation, planning, performance, and monitoring of the research. Okay, and the quality of research proposal will helps to the successful completion of the project, and a poorly prepared proposal may not be considered at all. This is the needs of a good research proposal. And if you are preparing a research proposal, that should contain the following components. Okay, this component should be present in a research proposal. So many you can add components other than this, but this component should be present in a research proposal. Okay, first one is the title of the project, and second one is introduction part, and third one is a background, and that's you can call as a review of literature or literature review of the study, and the fourth one is the objectives of the study investigation and the methodology, and sixth one is work plan, and seventh one is budget, and eighth one is details of research team. Okay, if you are preparing a research proposal, that should contain the following components. One is the title of the project, second one is introduction or preamble, and third one is a background, and that's also known as review of literature or literature review of the study, and fourth one is objectives of the investigation, and fifth one is methodology, and sixth one is work plan, and seventh one is a budget, and the eighth one is the details of research team. Okay, this the component that should be present in a research proposal. So we can see each components in details. First we can see the title of the project. Okay, first we can see the title of the project. The title of research proposal should be concise and descriptive. Okay, the title of the research proposal should be concise and descriptive, and this title should be informative but catchy title. Okay, the title of research proposal should be concise and descriptive, and this research title should be informative and catchy title. This is about the first component, title of the project. Okay. The next component is the introduction part, and we can call it as a preamble part. And in the introduction part, the main purpose of introduction is to provide necessary background for the research problem. Okay, the main purpose of this introduction is to provide necessary background of the research problem. Okay, you have a research problem, so we have to give a background. We have to briefly describe the background studies of this your research problem. Okay, and the introduction parts typically begin with a general statement of the research area. Okay, you have a research area, so your introduction part will be briefly describe your research area. That means the introduction typically begins with a general statement of the research area, and the introduction typically begins with the general statement of the research area, and then describe a specific research problem. Okay, first we have to define the research area, then we have to go for describe the specific research problem, and after that, we have to describe the rationale or justification of the proposal study. Okay, we have to give the rationale or justification for the proposal study. That means we have to justify why we are going to doing this study. We have to describe it here. Okay, this introduction part is the main purpose of introduction. The main purpose of introduction is to provide necessary background for the research problem. Okay, and the introduction typically begins with general statement on the research area, and then will describe the specific research problem. After that, we'll describe the rationale or justification for the proposed study on the introduction part. And generally the introduction part covers the following elements. Okay, the introduction part generally covers the following elements. First one, you have to explain the research problem. First, you have to explain the research problem, and you have to discuss the purpose of the study. You have to discover the purpose of study and provide the objectives of the study. Okay, you have briefly describe the objective of study. In that, you have to describe general as well as specific objective, and you have to mention rationale of the proposed study and indicate why is worth doing. Okay, identify the rationale of the proposed study and clearly indicate why it is worth doing. Okay, and briefly describe the major issues and sub-problem to be addressed by the research. Okay, you have to include briefly describe the major issues and sub-problem to be addressed by the research, and you have to state the hypothesis of the study, and if any. Okay, you have to state the hypothesis of study if any, and you have to state in introduction part that the limitation and or boundaries of the proposed research. These are the elements that should be present in an introduction part. The introduction part should cover the following elements. One is the introduction part should explain the research problem and describe the purpose of study and provide the objectives of study. That means you have to briefly describe about the objectives, that is should be general, and that's general and specific objectives you should be described. And you have to identify the rationale of the proposed study and indicate why it is worth doing, and you have to briefly describe about major and sub-problem to be addressed by this research, and you have to state the hypothesis in your introduction part, and you have to state the limitation and boundaries of the proposed research in the in the introduction part. Okay, you have to state the limitation or boundaries of the proposed research in the introduction part. Okay, this is about the introduction part of the research proposal. And now the third component is the background of study. Background of study, that means we can call it a review of literature of the study. And the background helps to understand the current status of research in that field. Okay, the background of study that will helps to understand the current status of the research in that field. Okay, if you are submitting a research proposal, research project, before that somebody has already done so many works in different angle in that same area. Okay, so this is the background of the study will help to understand what is the current status of research in that field, and this background should be brief and indicate the related research that had or being conducted. Okay, it should be this background should be brief and indicate relevant research that had or being conducted. Okay, some already told some already research is already done in the same field, and some research is already going in this field. So you have to mention each research already conducted in this background part, and if you are indicating this studies already conducted, in that time you have to add the reference. That means from where you taken that research, then you have to mention in this background study, and this background part will demonstrate your understanding of the theoretical and research issue related to your research issue. Okay, the background part will help to demonstrate your understanding of the theoretical and research issues related to your research question, and this background part shows your ability to critically evaluate relevant literature information. Okay, this background part will show your ability to critically evaluate relevant literature information. Okay, this is the background part. The background helps to understand the current status of the research in that field, and the background should be brief and indicate relevant research that had or being conducted. Okay, that when you are indicating this research, at that time you have to include the reference, and this background will help to demonstrate your understanding of the theoretical and research issue related to your research question. Okay, this background part will demonstrate your understanding of the theoretical and research issues related to your research question, and this background part shows your ability to critically evaluate relevant literature information. Okay, these are about the component background of the study. Now we can see the next component, objectives of the investigation. Okay, objectives of the investigation. In general, research objective describe what we expect to achieve by a project. Okay, a research project will a research objective describe what we expect by doing a project or research. Okay, a research project objective is a clear, concise, declarative statement which provide direction to investigate the variables. Okay, a research objective is a clear, concise, declarative statement which provide direction to investigate the variables, and the objective should be presented in logical sequences. Okay, the objective should be presented in logical sequences, and the objective should be realistic. Okay, the objective should be realistic. That means you have to complete within a time frame and with available resources, and there should be, okay, the objective should be use action verbs that are specific enough to evaluate or measure. Okay, in objective part, you have to use action verbs like assess, determine, compare, verify, calculate, describe. Okay, this like action verb we have to use in the objective part. Okay, for example, you can use to assess the temperature, to determine the temperature, to compare temperature, to verify the temperature, calculate temperature, or to describe the temperature. Like that, you can use the action verbs. This is the objective part, objective component, objective of investigation. That means research objectives describe what we expect to achieve by a project, and a research objective is a clear, concise, and a declarative statement which provide direction to investigate the variables, and the objective should be presented in a logical sequence. Okay, the objective should be presented in a logical sequence. They should be realistic. Okay, this should be realistic because the objective should be realistic because it should have to complete in a time frame, and I have to complete with the available resources, and you should have to use action verbs to that's specific enough to evaluate information like assess, determine, compare, verify, calculate, describe. This is about the fourth component, objectives of the investigation. Now we can see the fifth component, that is a methodology. A methodology section is very important because it will tell your research committee how you plan to tackle the research problem. Okay, if you are doing research, that time you have a problem to solve. Okay, this methodology will tell the research evaluation committee or research committee how you are going to tackle your research problem. Okay, so it's important that This methodology is important in research because this tells the research committee how you are going to tackle your research problem. And this methodology describes the activities necessary for the completion of your project. Okay, this methodology describes how the activities necessary for the completion of your project. Okay, and the component of the methodology section will be you have to give a study design. You have to, in the methodology part, you have to give some components like study design. You have to explain the study design. Study design means whether your studies depends on the questionnaire or laboratory experiment, and you have to mention the selection of research location. Okay, you have to mention the research location, and you have to mention the sample size. Okay, you have to mention the sample size. You need to calculate your sample size based on the type of study you are conducting. Okay, and you should mention the study instrument. Okay, you should mention the study instruments. What kind of instrument or questionnaires to you are going to use in the study. Okay, you have to mention the study instrument. That means what kind of instruments or questionnaire you are going to use in the study, and you have to give data collection. Okay, how you plan to carry out your study and what activities are involved and how long it takes. Okay, you have to mention the data collection. In that, you have to describe how do you plan to carry out your study, what activities are involved, and how long does it take. And another part is the data analysis and interpretation. Data analysis and interpretation. For data analysis and interpretation, you have to mention which method you use, which tool you use, which software you use for data analysis and interpretation. Okay, and another was ethical consideration. Sometimes, if you are doing research in some animals or in human beings, that time you have to get some kind of ethical clearance from ethical committee. That time you have to approach this ethical committee for ethical clearance. Okay, this is about the methodology part. Okay, methodology is a very important because it's tell your research committee about how you are going to tackle your research problem, and it's describe the activities necessary for the completion of your project, and the following components should be present. Okay, in the methodology section, first one is you have to mention the study design. That means your study is based on questionnaire or laboratory experiment, and you have to mention the selection of research location. You have to mention the sample size, and you have to mention study instrument, and you have to mention the data collection. You have to mention data analysis and interpretation, and you have to mention the ethical consideration in your methodology part of your research proposal. And the sixth component is the work plan. Okay, work plan. Okay, I think we have already explained about the work plan. A work plan is a schedule that summarizes the different components of a research project. Okay, a work plan is a work plan that summarizes the different components of a research project, and it should contain time frame and activity schedule for the proposed research. Okay, it should contain time frame and activity schedule for the proposed research. And Gantt chart is the most effective way of plotting the activity schedule, and in that Gantt chart, the step will be presented in a time frame. Okay, that Gantt chart, each step will be presented in a time frame. Here you can see different activities there, planning research, research, everything is there that you have given a time frame there. This is about the work plan. Okay, the work plan is a schedule that summarizes the different components of research proposal or research project. It should contain time frame and activity schedule for the it should contain the time frame and activity schedule for the proposed research. Gantt chart is the most effective way of plotting the activity schedule, and in that each step will be presented in time frame. The next component in research proposal is a budget, and this budget section presents the amount required for the study. Okay, this budget section required presents the amount required for the study. Sometimes, if you are going for a research program, that time I think this budget, most probably this budget section is not necessary in research proposal. And if you are going for approaching a funding agency for funding of research proposal, that time only this budget part is necessary, essential. Okay, and this section present the amount required for the study, and this budget section provide total and yearly breakdown of the budget needed. Okay, in this budget section you can see you have to present total amount required for the study and the total amount required for each year. You have to separately mention in that budget section, and you have to follow the guideline provided by the funding agency when you are applying for a funding. Okay, you have to follow the guidelines of the research committee, or sorry, the funding agency for when you are applying for a research project funding, and give appropriate estimate of cost depending of different area. Okay, you have to give approximate estimate for different areas, like how much amount you need for travel, how much amount you need for consumable, salaries, service, instruments, etc. Okay, you have to give approximate estimate or appropriate estimate for the different areas like travel, consumer, service, instruments, etc. And provide adequate justification. Okay, especially if you are buying costly items. Okay, sometimes sometimes you need to buy products with a huge amount. Okay, sometimes some instrument will be having high rate. That time you are to give some justification to the funding agency why this instrument is necessary for your research, and preferably you present the budget section in a table. You can preferably present the budget section in a table. You can see a table here. This all items is there, and year wise statement is there, column is there for budget, and total column also is there, and total grant total also is there. Okay, this is about the budget section. Budget section is essential only if you are applying for a funding. Okay, if you are applying only for a funding, then only you need a budget section, and this section presents the amount required for the study and provided total and yearly breakdown of the budget needed. Okay, you have to give total and yearly amount needed for the project, and follow the guidance provided by the funding agency, and give appropriate estimate of cost for different areas like travel, consumables, salaries, services, instruments, and provide adequate justification for, especially for costly items. Okay, and preferably present this budget in a table. And the last component is research team. Research team, that is a members that will present in a research project. Okay, research program. That is the members present in a research program, that is a research team. This research team section explains the research team and their responsibility. Okay, research section explains the research team and their responsibilities, and you have to include the curriculum materials of all key researchers. Okay, you have to, in this section, in this research proposal section, you have to include curriculum materials of all key researchers, and you have to obtain agreement of participation by the team members. Okay, you have to get an agreement from each team members in writing. Okay, you have to get an agreement from each members, and that should be included in the project proposal. Okay, these are the components present in the research proposal. Okay, these are the components present in the research proposal. I hope you understood this class. Thank you for listening.